Plot structure in a fairy tale, part 1. For the past few days, we've been working on fairy tales, and we've been writing our own fairy tales. Well, today we're going to start talking about plot structure and how we can use plot in our fairy tale. This is the general plot structure or plot diagram. As you can see, it looks similar to a mountain. It starts with an exposition and goes to rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. As you'll see, exposition and resolution are at the bottom. Rising action is an increase to the climax, which is the main or tallest point, and then the falling action takes us back down to the flat part. So what is exposition? The exposition is the beginning of a story. It contains the introduction of characters, setting, and the events that are to unfold in the story. This happens in most, if not all, stories, and it's the beginning where it just tells you everything that you need to know to understand the story. Often you're going to meet the characters, you're going to find out the setting, and you're going to learn some of the events that are going to happen in the beginning of the story. The exposition sets the stage for what's going to happen. What is rising action? Rising action is the beginning of the action in the story. This is when events start to take place that lead to the main event of the story. The name of this plot trait kind of tells you what's going to happen to begin with. Rising action. It's going to be the action that rises up to that mountaintop part of your story. This is going to be our think, pair, share activity for the day. I want you in a moment to turn and talk to your partner about the exposition and rising action of the story that we read today. Remember, we reviewed the story Cinderella today, so I want you to think and talk to your partner about the rising action and the exposition of Cinderella. So I'm going to give you about a minute to go ahead and turn and talk to your partner, and then we're going to come back together and we're going to share with the whole group what we've talked about. You may begin. Alright guys, about 10 more seconds. Okay, let's gather back together. Let's talk about the exposition and the rising action of Cinderella. The exposition is going to be whenever she whenever it introduces Cinderella, her stepmother and her evil stepsisters, and then also the events that are going to unfold. You know that the sisters are getting ready to go to a ball, but we don't know what's going to happen yet with Cinderella. The rising action of this story is going to be all the events that happen before we get to that main point of events, like whenever Cinderella was having to clean or work or was fussing and fighting with her sisters and her stepmother. These are all different things that have led to the main event of the story. So that's going to be the rising action. Those are the only two parts of plot that we're going to talk about today. We're going to come back to the other three elements on a different day. So as you write today, first I want you to create a plot diagram in your journal like the mountaintop plot diagram I showed you a moment ago. And then I want you to begin thinking of your exposition and rising action for your fairy tale. This will take a few minutes, but I want you to begin to think about it, and I want you to write down what's going to be the exposition and the rising action in your fairy tale. And you may begin.